Let's go. My unit, salute. Welcome to this 4th of July weekend edition of Amped Up with BC. This is technically still 4th of July weekend. You guys should be getting this upload, getting this amped up maybe Sunday evening-ish. Yes, I could have probably waited till tomorrow's amped up right before Monday Night Raw, but a lot of stories started to pile up in the pro wrestling world, so I didn't want it to bulk up too much to where we're at a situation where you guys are getting a 3-hour upload. So I said, you know what, we're going to talk about some of this on Sunday. And Monday before Raw, we'll have a whole new set of stories and news to go over because I will not get to everything in this upload. I'll tell you that right now. But what we are going to talk about to finish off your 4th of July weekends, man, because this is going to be a packed, jacked, stacked, amped up, I assure you. We're going to talk the WWE women not happy, still. Not again, but still not happy within the walls of World Wrestling Entertainment. I could not be any more proud of the WWE women's locker room. More than the men, they're not afraid to step up to Hunter Helmsley or at least speak out against Paul Levesque McMahon, the doofus son-in-law. They're not scared of this dude. And it's really cool to see. A lot of the dudes, a lot of the boys, they don't want to get on Petty Paul's bad side, right? They gave him the nickname Petty Paul within those walls for a reason. If you thought Vince McMahon played favorites, and if Vince didn't like you, you were going to know about it. Petty Paul, even worse. But we've seen that over the years. Even when he was just one of the boys, one of the talents. If he didn't like you as just one of his fellow talents, he would go crying to Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and that talent, well, he'd be dealt with. So a lot of the boys still have that mentality, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I don't want to poke the bear. I want to be on Petty Paul's good side. The women, they're starting to show you they don't care. What are you doing? Especially when they see a lot of their fellow female talent getting released. Or told days before their contract expires that they're not going to be re-signed. This is some dirty shit in World Wrestling Entertainment. So a lot of the females are like, dude, that could be us at any given moment. So we might as well be honest now. And you saw that report and all those reports around WrestleMania throughout the whole season that the women are like, what is going on? We're not even told what we're doing. We don't know if we're on the show. Well, now with Evolution around the corner, and I mean like next week, wait till you hear these new reports. Because, man, first and foremost, you could not be more proud of this women's locker room for speaking out, not being afraid to. And secondly, it once again gives you insight on just how poorly ran, how much of a sloppy shop World Wrestling Entertainment currently is. But we'll get to that. We'll go over the reports, and we'll talk about Evolution and why these females are not happy, and they have every right to be not happy. We're also going to talk numbers because BC has all of the latest ratings. All of the latest ratings on record for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW. It doesn't matter which show you prefer over the others. If you're a big AEW supporter or you're a big Raw and SmackDown supporter, maybe you love NXT. I have all the numbers, and it's unfortunate to say this because we love pro wrestling. We want to see it on fire right now. We want to see it lightning in a bottle and you just can't catch it. That's what we hope for. That's why on this channel, BC, my amplified unit, channel members, subscribers, my viewers, we always are being honest to the most amplified of measures because we want the best. And when you see numbers like this, it's not just bad, it's sad to see it. All of these numbers, NXT, AEW Dynamite, Raw, SmackDown, they all lead to one conclusion. And as hard as it is to talk about it, we're gonna talk about it. Former WWE star as of recently is on their way to AEW, it looks like. On one hand, you're like, hey, good for them. This could work. On the other hand, you're going, huh? Will that work? We'll talk about who that is and if it'll work in AEW. A couple of contracts expiring in WWE. Why, BC will tell you the initial plan, the original plan, no doubt, absolutely, was to let it expire and tell them deuces, ooses, all the best on your future endeavors. But the fans said, nah, maybe not to the levels of Ron Killing's R-Truth, but this would have created a shitstorm, a firestorm. And it looks like WWE is adverting that. We'll talk about who those two names are. And it looks like they're about to sign a new contract because the fans once again spoke out. But wait, there's more. That's right. I told you it was a packed, jack, stacked episode of Amped Up. It's 4th of July weekend, man. We got to go big. So I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I really am calling out for NXT and AEW. That's right. You guys already know. I'm not happy at all with WWE's main roster right now. Raw, SmackDown, the PLEs. Not happy with any of that. But NXT and AEW, there's one thing on each show right now that is really perturbing me next level. For NXT, it's a Randy Orton knockoff. I'll just leave it at that. We'll talk about it. I think you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And for AEW, it is somebody that I hold in the highest of regards. I put this individual on the highest of pedestals. I've said from day one, I say still to this day, she is the best female wrestler on the planet. A lot of you guys may not like this individual, so you don't like to hear that. That's your prerogative. I hear you. But I put this person on the highest of pedestals. I do. And what I've been noticing is unacceptable. And if it keeps happening, it'll leak into unwatchable. Because it is pathetic what is happening in this individual's matchups. Because it shouldn't be. There's no need for it. Because I do feel she's the best of the best. But every single match, we're witnessing the same damn thing. That's all I'm giving you, man. It's a cold open teaser for a reason, and that's your opening monologue. I'm going to go swig a coffee, my Dunkin' Extra Extra. My 4th of July coffees. I don't know if the weekend or what, man. All the coffees have been everybody's been on their game this 4th of July weekend, man. Even BC making it from the Monster Amplified 5000 coffee machine. I've been making some badass coffees, too. Anyway, I'm going to down a little bit of this. We're going to jump right into the main story. This is going to be the women in WWE right now, once again speaking out about how they're not happy at all right now. And this is a week away from their big Evolution PLE. So why are they not happy? Many reasons. Let's talk about it. Let's go. So the WWE women upset. They feel like they are set up for failure. First, let me give you a quote. This initial report, and then BC will tell you what I'm hearing from my people down in Florida, which not only backs up this initial report from Fightful, I believe actually from Sean Ross, but takes it even further, the report that I'm hearing from my people down in Florida. So let's start with the initial report. Nice if I could find the quote. There it is. All right, so this is the actual quote from Fightful on how the women feel about Evolution. A lot of them felt like it was a setup. It was being put up against All In Weekend across the street from a Beyonce concert during Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend. Hotels will be totally booked. It was hastily produced. End quote. So these were a lot of individuals that Fightful had spoken to. And it brings you back to what the same source, Fightful and Sean Ross, were told around WrestleMania. When they were hearing several talents say not only are they not happy, they're confused. They don't know if they're even on the show. They didn't know if they were on WrestleMania. Guys, this was leading up to Mania a week before. They didn't know days before. A lot of women on that roster, the whole roster, including the dudes, did not know if they were on the card. I mean, last second, they were penciling in Joe Hendry from TNA to go in there and have a match with Randy Orton. The main roster didn't know if they were going to get that spot. But the women were the only ones around WrestleMania to really speak out about it. And if you remember those reports, what made those reports so huge is it wasn't just the booking for Mania. They were upset with their booking, period. They were upset because they didn't know what they were. Do you guys remember that report? They asked Sean Ross if he could find out if they're faces or heels. That was in the report. Whether that was a ha-ha or not, that tells you what they're thinking. The talent doesn't know if they're a face or a heel. That's a problem because they're the ones that are going to look like idiots. Because if they're heels, they have to go out there and cut that type of a promo on the audience. And they have to act and be a certain way, heelish. But if the very next week Helmsley's parading them out there to be a face, well, then all that equity you were trying to build not only falls flat, but your whole act, your whole shtick falls flat, which is only a detriment to the individual that doesn't know what they are. One week they're this, the other week they're this. And that was happening nonstop. It still is today. You're seeing nothing but face versus face segments, matches, promos, heel versus heel matches, or heel and heel promos, heel and heel segments. Now more than ever, actually. But around Mania, it wasn't just being booked for Mania. These talents didn't know what they were. They don't know how to act. What should I be portraying if I'm at an autograph session or going to this next show with no direction? One day I'm taking on a fellow face. The next day I'm taking on a heel. Next week it's another face. Anyway, you can't help but think of that report when you hear this. Because these ladies are telling you they feel like they're set up to fail. They feel like they're set up for failure. And you have to question, is this sabotage? You look at what they're doing with NXT. This company pimps out NXT just to ruffle the feathers of AEW. This company uses NXT just to flood out AEW. That's what it's called in business, flooding out your competition. And that's just pretty much engulfing them. And that's what they're doing with All In Weekend, which is, I feel, the biggest. I know Double or Nothing is huge and a couple of other events for AEW in the calendar year, but All In is really I feel that's like their WrestleMania. I've always felt that way. I think Tony's even said that several times. With all respect to Double or Nothing. But All In is their real big one. And that's how it's been portrayed for months now. And WWE just flooded them out. You got Saturday night's main event the night of All In. That's Saturday. But then they also just put Great American Bash right up against it. Right up against it at 3 p.m. against All In is the Great American Bash from NXT. And then the next day, just to make sure nobody's talking about All In, if you weren't already talking about Saturday night's main event or Great American Bash, they're going to parade the females out there. I feel like absolutely WWE is just pimping out, is just using NXT and the ladies, this Evolution event, just to help flood out AEW. And they don't care if it's at the detriment of NXT or the detriment of the women. Because there's no doubt they knew about this ahead of time. Guys, they have a full team that gets paid a lot of money before they set any date up in stone, like a WrestleMania date or a Royal Rumble, anything like that. They are looking at everything that is planned for those weekends or weeks. Super Bowls, championship games, award shows, you name it. There are people that get paid a lot of money to make sure there's no conflict. You know damn sure there's Beyonce coming to town on that same night, on that same weekend. You know damn sure that Major League Baseball is coming in that entire week. These are things you know, and you have to know that. For the hotels, like was one of the biggest concerns with the ladies that talked to Fightful. Hotels will be booked up, so once that happens and people even want to go to the show, once they see how hard it is and that they can't even get a room, they're just going to say, oh, that's all right. I'll watch it on Peacock. Maybe some Netflix. I'll watch the highlights. If I can't even get a hotel. But of course, there's people that get paid a lot of money to make sure that they know all of the conflicts, and then they weigh out the options. Should we choose another weekend? Should we not do this show? Should we prolong? Should we go earlier? Do we just do it? Screw it. And they said, do it. Screw it. Major League Baseball, Beyonce, hotel issues, all that's going to be an issue. And they're like, who cares? Just the women. That's what their mentality is, this company. Because the whole goal, I've told you from the jump, if you needed any more evidence, this is it. But I told you what this is about, flooding out AEW. They claim that they're not competition, but they're pimping out NXT and the women to flood them out. Otherwise, there's no way, trust me when I say this, there's no way the main roster is going into a war zone like this. They would not put the main roster up against Major League Baseball, Beyonce, the travel issues, the hotel. They wouldn't do it. But they don't care what NXT is doing. They don't care what the women, if they fall flat on their face. As long as you can make the impact that they want, which is just taking a few viewers away, taking some talk away from what All In AEW was going to garner. They just want to kind of dent them a little bit with these two shows. Saturday night's main event, the main roster will pick up the flack. Pick up what's left. But they just want to dent AEW with these shows. That's all this is about. Hurt AEW a bit. And that's what the women are seeing. So yeah, the women are pissed. And the women are speaking out to bigger outlets like Fightful. They don't care. How many of their fellow talents, their fellow female talents have been released over the last couple of released stages? It's been a lot. From their pals like Tegan Knox or a Sonya Deville or a Shayna Baszler and so many in between. We're about to talk about Isla Dawn in a little bit, but so many. The Cora Jades. The females really got dinged up these last two cycles of releases and told they're not going to be re-signed. So they're probably thinking, and most of them found out last minute. And all of them have one thing in common. Hunter never even texted them or told them anything about as to why or, hey, keep your head up. Thank you for everything you've done for us and for me. No, Helmsley played Papa H. All these women always used to say the same thing, right? We've always had a great relationship. Hunter Helmsley has always talked to me like almost like a father figure, right? Sound familiar? Like Vince would talk to so many, right? He's so good to us and he talks to us. But the second you're out of that company, all of a sudden he doesn't have a second to say thank you. Keep your head up. All's going to be good. Just a business decision. This is exactly why. But trust me, I think you're going to be just fine. Takes a minute or two. But then you see him on all the podcasts and all the commercials and all of this. And they're like, that's where you're spending your time? Because you want to believe he's busy. He doesn't have time to tell the released talent or the ones that are not re-signed. He doesn't have time to say thanks, BC, and you'll be good. He's too busy doing creative. He's doing work. No, he's not. I wish he just locked himself in the office for 25 hours out of a 24-hour day. Do the Steiner math. I wish we'd get a better product. Maybe. I say maybe because he's not a creative dude. Just not. Without Dusty Rhodes and William Regal and a few others as a dream team around him, he's lost. But maybe if he locked himself in the office for 25 hours out of a 24-hour day, maybe we'd have some semblance of better wrestling stories and maybe some things would make sense. But that's not how he spends his days. He does commercials, he does podcasts, he just loves to be in the spotlight, and he loves to play the role of Vince McMahon 24 hours a day. He's not doing anything. There's going to be a new show that comes out this month or next month called Unreal, WWE Unreal on Netflix, where at least we get to act like Helmsley is working because he's taking you into the writer's room and he's going to take you into all how the sausage is made. It's all for TV. It's all for TV. Watch when he tells Jey Uso he's putting the rocket on him. There's 3 cameras on him. It's all set up, staged beautifully. Television show. Helmsley's too busy being the star of a pro wrestling show than to make his actual product, the actual wrestling shows, creative and fun. He's too busy trying to be the star, even at his age, knowing he can't wrestle anymore. He's too busy trying to be the star of WWE. And his new show, Unreal, starring Helmsley, produced by Helmsley, executive produced by Helmsley. Final say and approval by Helmsley. But he doesn't have a moment to say, hey, Tegan, man, thank you so much for everything. Shayna, thank you. Sonia, thank you. This is exactly why we had to make that decision, by the way. I know, but trust me, do these 3 things, you're going to be good, all right? I'll keep in touch. I mean, he was Papa H, they said. So this is what I mean when I say the females are starting to see through the bullshit. They're starting to see that every time they come across Helmsley, the nose is a little bit bigger, because that's what happens with Pinocchio. The nose grows every single time he bullshits. So now when the ladies walk by Helmsley in the corridors, they gotta shrink themselves and hug up against the wall, because if Helmsley just moves a little bit, that schnoz might knock him over. And I want to take it a step further than this initial report sent over to Fightful. And from what I'm hearing from my people down in Florida is most of that women's locker room doesn't even know if they're going to be on the show. That's a problem because you're a week away. Could you imagine being a week away from a premium live event, a week away from a pay-per-view, and you don't even know if you're on the show? Sound familiar? It's WrestleMania all over again for this locker room. But for these ladies, this is supposed to be. This is what they're told behind the scenes. This big event. You're not being set up for failure. It's Evolution 2. And this is the stage that you finally get to go on and show everybody, showcase everything you've been working on. But they don't even know if they're on the show. There's supposedly this big battle royal where they're just going to stuff everybody they didn't have a match for, right? It's almost like one of those Andre the Giant battle royals. Much love to Andre, but you'd rather not be in it because you know that's just the jobber battle royal. That's for everybody that doesn't make the main show. Or even if they put the battle royal, even if they decide in the future to put it back on WrestleMania night 1 or 2, wouldn't matter. It's the jobber battle royal. It's for everybody that doesn't have a story, everybody that doesn't have a singles matchup or a big match. I mean, they're just taking all the ladies that they're like, they don't have a match. Put them in a battle royal. And there's been 3 separate posters for this battle royal, supposedly. And they're all different. So the ladies are literally not told if they're in it. They're trying to find out through people like Fightful or sources as such, or from actual posters that are being put out by WWE. That's exactly how it was told to me. They're trying to find out via the marketing. But the marketing has different posters. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know if they're on the show. They don't know if they're faces or if they're heels. Helmsley is giving them no information. There's zero transparency in this company. Most of the talent is backstage furious that they can't get answers. And this is Helmsley's WWE, supposed to be dramatically better than Vince's. They don't have to walk on eggshells anymore. Starting to hear a lot of people now that have been released or not re-signed and told last minute. Starting to hear a lot of them go, I just felt there was this feeling like it was coming, but nobody would tell me anything. I couldn't get any answers. And when I did ask, they said, you're doing just fine. I just felt there was this weird feeling, and all of a sudden, yep, it happened. I got released. That's walking on eggshells. That's lack of transparency. That's somebody bullshit. That's the management bullshitting you. Could you imagine your job if you just showed up every day? You felt like you were giving it your best. Management was just acting weird. And when you're like, is all good? Your manager's like, yeah, man, you're doing great. Good job. You come in the next day, you punch in, you do your 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. Feel like you kicked ass, went home, clocked out. You came in the next day. All of a sudden, your boss says, yeah, we're letting you go. Actually, not even your boss, right? One of your little under team supervisors has to tell you. Boss doesn't even have a moment to tell you himself. And you're like, what the I was kicking ass. I'm probably better than everybody. And when I asked, you guys said I was doing good. Yeah, we're just going in a different direction. Just have your stuff out by the end of the day, please. You can finish up your shift, but then that's going to be that's all we need from you. Thank you. They won't even say thank you in WWE. They just kick you to the curb. But could you imagine your job doing that to you? Because that's what's happening in WWE. These individuals under Helmsley's WWE. You can blame TKO all you want. You can blame The Rock all you want. This is Helmsley's roster. No move is being made without Helmsley not only knowing, but being the ultimate decider. That's how this works. TKO could absolutely go to Hunter and say, dude, here's the deal. We got to cut $20 million from contracts. That's hefty, right? That means you got to get rid of like 20, 25 individuals, and a couple of them have to be superstars. I'm just throwing just a situation out at you guys. Like TKO can do that, no question. That's the business side of it. But they would still go to Helmsley first and tell them what's up, because now it's Helmsley's job to sit down with them. Helmsley has to decide who it is. He's the chief of the content, the talent, and the creative. It's all him. TKO can't just go to Helmsley on a random Wednesday and go, oh, by the way, we're cutting Drew McIntyre. We got to get rid of Rollins. We're cutting Sammy. We're going to get rid of that weird Otis and Tozawa thing. And we decided we do have to cut R-Truth after all. And Helmsley's just like, oh, damn, okay. I'll change all my plans. Doesn't work like that. Not like he has a lot of plans anyway, but it just wouldn't work that way. They know that Helmsley has all this stuff over here and knows who he wants to push or doesn't, who he wants to have, who he'd rather not. So that's where TKO would say, hey, this is the deal. Get back to us. Or we can all sit down and we'll go over it. We'll go over contracts. And what I'm saying is Helmsley not only has a decision and all that, he is the ultimate. He tells TKO who he can do without, who they can have, who they can cut. They just don't go to Helmsley with a list of names and go, these are the ones. Our team of nerds have broken down the numbers and those are the contracts that have to go. It's not how it works, not in pro wrestling. They make the business decision to see what needs to be cut and how much. And then Helmsley tells them what they can have or who they can cut. It's all Helmsley. You can blame The Rock. You can blame TKO all you want. It's Helmsley. And the women have had enough. So, lengthy topic, but it is our big story of the upload. So I wanted to spend an ample amount of time on this because it's refreshing that at least one part of that locker room, the women's side of it, they've had enough of Helmsley. They're starting to really talk more, be more open about it, because they know the finish line, unless you're a select few, like a Rhea Ripley or whoever, that can just spend all day being pissed off at fans and screaming at fans and being upset with fans. But unless you're a select few, everybody could be in the same circumstance as a Shayna Baszler or Sonya Deville or Cora Jade and many others. They could all be in that same situation, the unemployment line at any moment. But they were told all these glorious things and they're doing so great. The women going into Evolution feel like this event is set up for failure. Internal sabotage. Set up to fail. Quote. That's not good. When the event is next week. And everyone performing on that card, most of them anyway, feel like this is set up for failure. WWE doesn't care though. They just need you to dent all in. They need you to put a dent into AEW's big weekend. That's all this event is for. Just like Great American Bash and even Saturday night's main event. They're not going to care about that. You think any thought or effort's being put into any of these events? They're dishing out 3 events for a quick Atlanta money grab. There's going to be no creative behind this. No thought. No care. And when the weekend is done, they just hope that they flooded out AEW so at least the conversation is upon WWE. The women NXT, maybe the main roster. But as long as your talk about AEW All In is minimal, WWE will feel it's successful. They'll go over all the numbers that they made in Atlanta, tout record revenue, because the prices are 8 times higher than the last time they were in Atlanta. And the business wheel will go round and round. And then the next round of releases, a lot of these females will indeed find out they're in the unemployment line. Swig of coffee, we'll start talking numbers. How bad have these shows been lately? BC's reviews, if you listen to BC, I've been telling you how bad they are. Bad, really bad, unwatchable. But there's a lot of people in the community, they're an extension of the product. And what I mean by that is they'll just review it as if everything is hunky-dory. These shows are so good. Did you guys see Drew McIntyre come back and set up a match with Randy Orton like we've never seen it before? Did you see it? So good. We gave it 12 ups. What? They're just an extension of the show. Try to get some clicks, some views, new subscriber. I try to get the kids that are watching these shows, try to get them to subscribe to their channel. I get it. But how we choose to do it on this channel is honesty, because we actually want to see pro wrestling get better. And if you're just going to bullshit your audience and act like everything is so good, then you're not a part of the solution. You're just a part of the problem. So BC chooses not to be that way, man. So when I do the reviews, you're going to get a lot of just... It's going to come across as really harsh. Some may say, damn, that's so negative. What you should be saying is, thank you for the honesty. That's so honest. Because when the numbers come out and the ratings for all these shows, they back up everything BC has said in the reviews. If I just said how bad everything was and then the ratings come out and it's a good rating, it's a good number, I'll take the L. I'll take the L all day, every day if that's the case. But what happens is I am the one that reviews them honestly, then the numbers come out and they say, hey, BC was right. So let's go over every show. And let's see, if I collect an L on this, cool. But if I was right in my reviews, and the numbers are coming in low, and even lower than the week previous, then I collect the W, and we can all give a little bit of a pat on the back. How's that? Let's talk about it, starting with SmackDown. This is from last week's SmackDown. We don't have, literally this past Friday's. That's probably going to be on a delay anyway. Getting that number because it's on a holiday weekend. And it was taped anyway. But the week previous, this would have been, I believe, the go-home show to Night of Champions. SmackDown pulled a 1.4. Sound familiar? It's what they're stuck in. I told you guys, they're stuck at 1.4. Maybe they've dipped to 1.3, I believe, recently even. Sometimes they'll go to a 1.5 out of nowhere. In fact, they were at a 1.5 nearly at least the week previous. So you think the go-home show, if you're booking properly, if you're doing the right type of creative that is getting individuals, fans on the edge of their seat and captivated, you're going to go up for the go-home show. The go-home show to Night of Champions lost 100,000 viewers. The go-home show went right back to 1.4, which is their new average on the USA Network. That's SmackDown. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So when I absolutely shred SmackDown to pieces, this number backs up everything I'm telling you. I mean, you can have 100 people telling you how amazing this show was, but only one of us is being honest with you because the numbers tell you that. That's what I mean when I say I'm not going to sugarcoat this product and I'm not going to bullshit my audience. I'm going to say what I said in these reviews. You guys will get the numbers, and you can take a step back and go, damn, BC was ultra amplified honest with us. And I don't even need a thank you. Because I know you guys appreciate it by keep coming back. And I'll keep dishing the amplified truth, and the numbers will keep backing up everything I'm telling you. How was Raw? I said Raw was horrible. I say Raw is the worst show on television every week, I tell you that. So how was the numbers? Now, mind you, this is on a 7-day delay because Netflix brings in the numbers for a full 7 days. So this number is not just for one Monday night. It's for the whole 7-day period, guys. That's what makes this even more tragic. And even more sad is that it's global, not just U.S. domestic that used to pull this times 3. So 7-day period globally. Raw pulled a 2.6. Somehow they were at a 2.7 the week before. They lost over another 126,000 viewers. This was the go-home show to Night of Champions. The latest Raw number that Netflix has released or that we have gotten. That was the go-home episode. 2.6. They started on Netflix at a 6-0. Debut. That's when you hooked everybody, even the casuals. That is your chance to put together the best show, creativity, have everyone captivated so that a lot of them come back. You're going to lose some, no question, but maintain what you can and then grow it. It wasn't long. This was just January, a 6-0. It wasn't long before they had drizzled down to half, 3.0 globally. And now, what have we been seeing? 2.9, 2.8, 2.7, 2.6. 2.6! Global! 7 days. Do you remember when they went to Netflix and WWE was touting how now they can go to 700 million people, whatever it was? Do you remember that? What happened to 658 million people? You're touting 700 million. You can only pull in 2.6 across 7 days? You're telling me this company, this product, this show is not shitting the bed? Domestically, they're at a 1-2. A 1-2 U.S. domestic. Never. I knew it was going to be bad, but I thought by default they would bring in better numbers than this. By default, just being on Netflix. But I still knew it was going to be bad because the creative is shit. And Helmsley is not creative. He's not a writer. Vince Russo says it all that. He's not a writer. He's just not creative. We see that. We know that. He doesn't know what long-term storytelling is, long-term booking. He books by the day, by the moment. Everybody will tell you. Nobody even knows in that company if they're faces or heels. Helmsley doesn't even give a shit. He just looks at them as Wrestler A versus Wrestler B tonight. But, sir, they're both faces and it doesn't make sense. It's okay. The fans will still yell, "This is awesome," in 60 seconds. That's all we need. Let's just put wrestling matches out there. That's all. As long as the show goes off the air, we collected our money, we fulfilled our obligations, on to the next town. That's how this company's doing it now. So I didn't have any expectations at all, but I thought by default they would pull in, I don't know, globally, 5-6 mil maybe, is where they would kind of level off. 2.6 within 6 months? Even I am astonished at how low these numbers are. And I'm the one who rips these shows more than anybody because I am so... It is exhausting. It is more than a chore to watch these Raws. It is exhausting to watch these shows. They have become unwatchable. That's the word I've been using recently. Because it's true. NXT. When I say no better, maybe not worse than Raw, but it's just bad. 729 last week, 729K. Forget trying to hit 1 million viewers. 729 last week. This past week's number for this past Tuesday, 627,000 viewers. They lost another 102,000 going in to Great American Bash, which is a week away. We're a week away from Great American Bash. You'd think the numbers are going to get better because as you get closer to the premium live event, you're putting on better stories and segments. You're captivating. So you're building your audience just like you're building your stories. Not only are they building nothing, adequately anyway, or good, not only are they not doing such, but they're certainly not building their audience. 102,000 viewer drop as we get closer to the premium live event. 627. They're 27,000 viewers away from being right into the 500s again. So many people just shit on AEW like it's the worst wrestling show on the planet, but where's the same energy with NXT? And if you're going to claim, well, that's developmental, so it doesn't count. Jordan Grace is far from developmental. Trick Williams has been there long enough. Ain't no developmental. When Joe Hendry pops up or Elias from TNA, far from developmental. And all of the WWE main roster talent that they have over there, far from developmental. when Julia got there and Stephanie and Roxy were there, far from developmental. It's a wrestling show in prime time. I don't care what you call yourself. 627, it's a pathetic number. All Elite Wrestling this week. Dynamite 300. Dynamite 300. Big show, right? Promoted 300 Dynamites. They pulled 613K last week. Obviously, that's not good. They do have that deal with Max, though. They stream. Regardless of what Tony Khan puts out there, the only number we could really crack that's in the realm of realism is 40 to 60,000 viewers, guys. That's the only number that is in the realm of realism. I can't even give you 75. So wherever you want to choose between 40 and 60, but there's no evidence that is showing that more than 60,000 viewers are watching on Max. But they just won't release it, unfortunately. I think that's the many reasons. But from what we are able to do and work our magic and crack all the codes with these numbers, 40 to 60 is what we came up with. So 613 last week, obviously not good. If you want to add 50,000 more, okay, 663. What if I give you 670 last week? But it's 613 on their upfront number. This week, 584,000. 584. They lost 29,000 viewers. Their number this week for Dynamite, 300. 584,000. They lost 29,000. So again, if you want to do the Max numbers, add that on. I can give you the full 60 if you want. 60,000 viewers watched on Max. That's a massive chunk from the 584, but hey, maybe. Put 60 over and you're still at 94, 04, 14, 24, 634. Right? 94, 04, 14, 24, 34. Yeah, 44 maybe. 644K. If I give you the full 60. 644. That's not good. Them and NXT are neck and neck at just being another random show that people feel they can miss. At least when I catch a Dynamite, I've said this a million times, and it's true. Whenever I'm able to catch a Dynamite, I at least feel it's watchable. Whereas like Raw and SmackDown have become unwatchable. I at least can watch it. Now, whether it's good or not, that goes segment by segment. Absolutely, I agree. But at least I don't feel like it's a chore or it just gets you nauseous. But it doesn't necessarily make it good. AEW and NXT, they have their faithful viewers. But these numbers are telling us something on the grander spectrum. That like Raw and SmackDown or anything WWE is doing, pro wrestling today is hurting. Pro wrestling is not good. That's what sucks, man. It's just not. And you see some things from over in New Japan, or you see some wrestling from Mexico, or you see some wrestling straight out of England. It's just not captivating. There's no real reason to. And yes, were we spoiled from what a lot of us grew up with? Yes, absolutely. And you'll just never get that back. I'm not even just talking Attitude Era, by the way. I'm talking Golden Era before, even Ruthless Aggression, to be honest with you. You'll never get a lot of that back or most of it. But you don't have to, man. It's about where we are in today's realm. How can we make today's pro wrestling with the situations that we have, what we're allowed to do, all of the nuances from the outside world, right? You put all of that in perspective and under consideration, and you put the best possible pro wrestling product out there for 2025. And if you do that, pro wrestling's good. I don't know what pro wrestling is today. Helmsley's pro wrestling is not pro wrestling. Faces versus faces, heels versus heels. Nothing makes sense. No long-term story. Nothing. Superstars that are not super. Larger than life is non-existent. I don't know what Paul Levesque McMahon's pro wrestling is. NXT has its moments and then they fall back to I don't even know. NXT is just so many individuals. Everybody just looks like they're right off the Amazon distribution assembly line, because that's what the Performance Center is. They're just dishing out one person after the other that looks the same, talks the same, does the same. Nobody's different. Nobody is sticking out. They got people showing up in NXT from Evolve, people from TNA, people from LFG, the reality show. I don't even know half the people anymore. NXT has its moments, its weeks, its months where it's, I think, good, and then all of a sudden just falls off the stratosphere. And this version of NXT is the worst. I would love to know what Miles Bourne is. Why are they pushing Miles Bourne from obscurity to skyrocket status? What is Miles Bourne? He doesn't have all that great talent. He's decent to good. Okay, maybe he'll get better. I'm hoping. But the look, it's like they're just trying to give us a bootleg Randall Orton. He just looks like a bootleg from top to bottom, just really bad version of Randy Orton. Smaller and just goofier. I don't get Miles Bourne. Maybe if he wasn't just trying to be just a try-hard, way too much in the lane of Randy Orton. Maybe if it was just a different presentation, I could take Miles Bourne a little bit better. And maybe if he just didn't get this weird push from out of nowhere. This guy was in who was he in there with? Not Trick. Was it Trick? Was it Battleground? He was just in like one of the big matches for their last PLE. Who's paying money to see Miles Bourne? I don't get Miles Bourne, and I'm certainly not going to spend my prime time, my late Tuesday evenings, watching Miles Bourne. It's goofy. It's goofy to me. I don't know what this NXT is. As far as AEW, it has so much that I feel is actually good, man. MJF and Hurt Syndicate, I thought that was going to fail miserably. Okay, maybe not that far, but I did say I'm not on board with it. Within just a few weeks, they had me on board with it. I loved weeks of yes or no for MJF. Something that simplistic, but with the right people and done correctly, it'll work. And it did. For a couple of months, they strung that out. Since he's joined them, I can't say it's been as interesting, but they have these glimpses where it's being done correctly. Mercedes Moné, I don't mind her holding 6 titles or 16. It's Mercedes. I feel she's the best female wrestler on the planet. I know. BC, nuh-uh. I know a lot of people don't like Mercedes. I don't want to hear it. It doesn't matter. I know she is because she's everybody's best match. So I just go by statistics and factual information. So she is. But what I'm seeing from Mercedes is one of the biggest problems right now for All Elite Wrestling. Every time Mercedes is in that ring, I feel like she's winning via a roll-up or an inside cradle. She's one of the best wrestlers. She shouldn't be squeaking them out, even if she's supposed to be a heel and you want to say face for the face. So it's a shock out of nowhere cradle. Just caught him off guard with a cradle. Could have been anybody's match. You can't do it all the time. Not just because Mercedes shouldn't be winning all of these matches with cradles and roll-ups because it's stupid, because she is one of the best. She doesn't need to do that. So use your fucking finisher. But on top of that, it gets old if you start seeing non-stop cradles and roll-ups for one individual always. At that point, just make it your move like Xavier Woods. Still pathetic, but at least he's laughing at himself. This is not the best way to utilize Mercedes Moné. And that matchup she had with, Shirakawa? That match was not good. Sloppy. And she can't hang with Mercedes, unfortunately. It was slow paced. You could see where we had to kind of dumb down the matchup several times. Mercedes finds herself in those positions a lot because a lot of wrestlers can't hang with Mercedes. But it's the finish in these roll-ups and these cradles. It has to stop. Because I feel like I'm just watching the same Mercedes match nonstop now if that's the way you're going to finish them. But if you're wondering why ratings are where they are and they're not improving, it's because the shows, in totality, these are the fans telling you it's not worth sitting down for hours and watching all of these segments. So I know if you're a big supporter of NXT, you're like, I don't like it. Cool. Most people are not. If you're a big supporter of AEW, I don't like it. Okay. The problem is most people are not watching this. So how can we get them to do such? That's where, if you're a big supporter of these companies, Raw, SmackDown, same thing. If you're a big supporter of these shows and these companies, be honest and say, yeah, this is an issue. Ratings are either stagnant or they're going down, but they're definitely not improving. For weeks, months, and even years, they're just going down. So what can we do to improve it? Because this isn't good. Quick recap. Latest numbers that we have. SmackDown, 1.5 to a 1.4. Raw, 2.7 to a 2.6. NXT, 729 to 627. And AEW, 613 to 584. Even if you want to add on max streaming numbers, that's not good. Especially for your promoted 300, Dynamite 300. 584 on upfront cable. And then you wonder why when these shows go off the air and most fans are like, nothing, there was no reason I needed to be here for 2 or 3 hours to watch this. I could have literally just found out results and saved myself an entire night. More and more fans are saying that. More and more fans are flocking away. I get it all the time on this channel, but this past week or two, it's been even more. My unit's saying, BC, I'm tapping out. I can't watch any of this wrestling anymore. It's just not good. But I'll still stop by and support. I even got channel members that don't even watch the product anymore, but they're still channel members supporting the channel because they know BC's putting up the good fight. I'm trying to make pro wrestling great again, man. I'm trying. The companies just don't want to listen. The companies don't care. They keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Well, they're getting a different result. The numbers are going even lower. Another swing. So I want to move on, guys. We'll move on because I could just keep going on and on about all the things that need to be changed and all the pet peeves and the shit that needs to be changed or taken out or put in. I mean, it's frustrating because you see all of what's wrong with these shows, or at least so much. And you just can't do anything. The promoters don't care. They just keep doing the same things, man. But I want to move on. We'll stick with AEW because there's a former WWE talent recently released or told she wasn't going to be re-signed, one of the two. Isla Dawn. And there's word that she is headed to AEW. She's AEW bound. Now, you get a lot of conflicting kind of responses to that, right? You got one half of the audience that's going to go, oh, Isla yawn. And you got the other half that's like, no, Isla bomb, because she's going to make an impact. So whether you're Isla yawn or team Isla bomb, Isla Dawn looks to be AEW bound from at least as of this recording, the report that we are getting. We'll try to find out even more. I don't know. There's potential there for sure. Did I think that was the time for WWE to cut ties? No, I didn't think that we saw the best of her in Alba. I really don't. They had that weird title victory in Scotland, I believe, just because they were in Scotland. Held it for maybe a month and just got rid of the title. Helmsley had no plan. He never has a plan. Long-term storytelling, basically. Yeah, no. He doesn't have anything long-term. So he took the titles right off. And like Zelina Vega, right? Zelina wins it a month or two on SmackDown. On SmackDown, Zelina wins that U.S. title. And then on SmackDown 2 months later, loses it. Again, on SmackDown to Julia. That was Helmsley's plan. New Day wins tag titles. And then doesn't even have maybe a match. And then loses it a couple months later on a Raw. Not even a main event. In the middle of a Raw, loses the titles to the team that already had the tag titles, Judgment Day. So what was all of this for? If Judgment Day, the same two members, Balor and McDonald's, already had the titles, they lose it. Okay, Viking Raiders, I believe. The Expedition took the titles from Judgment Day. And then at WrestleMania, just to give the New Day a match, they take the titles from the Experience. And then they're irrelevant. They sit at catering. They do these weird backstage segments. They maybe have one match. And then they lose the titles to another. It's a heel group, by the way. It's a heel team, the New Day. They lost it to another heel group, Judgment Day, which already held the titles a few months before. So you're telling me that's Helmsley's creativity, his mastermind? That's his long-term storytelling? Wow, that's bad. That sucked. No purpose, no reasoning. He doesn't have any plan. It's day-to-day, moment-to-moment for Helmsley. So I don't think Isla Dawn and Alba Fire ever really had a chance, even with the championships. That was just because they were in Scotland. They happen to be Scottish. So on one hand, I think there is potential there. Is this what AEW should be doing? Is that the talent? Listen, I feel that they already have an imploded roster, or imploded. Hopefully not yet. But they have a inflated roster. Hopefully it does not implode. You guys know what I say about talent. If you have too much, the ship will not float properly. It's not going to sail properly. If you put too many talents on that ship, it's going to sink. Too much weight. AEW has a talent issue. Do they need a couple of pieces on the women's roster that are high quality talent? No question. I do believe that. You need the people for somebody like Mercedes to rock with. And you really only have left, because she's already done the Jamie Hayters and all that, you have Toni Storm. So you do need a couple of big pieces. A couple of puzzle pieces on the women's roster. I can't tell you that Isla Dawn is that individual. So I'm not against the idea totally. I guess Tony Khan sees an area where he wants to use Isla. Cool. I'm not seeing it. But if Tony Khan actually has a plan, then I'm willing to see where it leads to. That's the problem with WWE, one of many. He'll get AEW talents. He's got no plans. I mean, that's clear. Look at Penta. Look at Phoenix. Look at, who else Ricky, not Stark, Saints. Mariah May or Blake Shelton, or what's her name? Blake Monroe. There's no plan. You could tell there's no actual plan. None. So I'm okay with this if there's an actual plan and he knows how he wants to use her, knows her capabilities, and is going to use them to full potential. If not, it's just another spoke on the wheel, another person on the ship that's unfortunately going to clog that wheel and sink that ship. That's my commentary on this. I'm okay with it if there's a plan and purpose. If not, I don't know what Isla Dawn does for AEW. I know there's a talent there. I know there's untapped potential. But I can't say that that division already doesn't have other issues it has to attend to before you start trying to pencil in Isla Dawn on this 2-hour show. Collision as well. I guess Collision would probably be the better bet for her, actually. On the flip side, for WWE, there's a couple of names that were about to get released or told they're not being re-signed. That's Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux. Next month, we're hearing those were the contracts, man. After SummerSlam, they were done. And make no mistake about it, look at the way they were being booked. They were done. They're done. Or at least they were. Look at the way they were being booked. They were not used. And when you did see them, it was just him trying to tell Sammy, you'll never win the title. And the payoff was just going to be Sammy beating Karrion, and that's it. Wait 2 more weeks, you're out. But what happened was there was this movement, man. You could feel it, man, where Karrion Kross got a lot of support. His merch was starting to fly off the shelves, even though he's not even being used. People are starting to give him that treatment like, dude, what are you doing with Karrion? Book Karrion. Use Karrion. Karrion's the real deal. He's not just bells and whistles. Even through weird stories like Karrion won't take a bump. Nobody bought that shit. Talent backstage was laughing at it. Not him, laughing at it, the story. Stupid. So now WWE's in a position where now we're hearing they've either re-signed already or it's imminent. They just got to cross some T's and dot some I's and they're re-signed. Far cry from what you were about to hear, which is they're gone from the company. Das Boot. All the best in your future endeavors. That's what Helmsley saw. And again, if you need evidence of that, look at the way that he's being booked. And then you had the payoff match where Sami Zayn just beats him. That's unacceptable, man. Michael Cole said several times Karrion has to win that match. And he's right. We all knew that. He needed that even more than Sami. Sami is just a mid-carder right now. Nothing Sami does is interesting to most of us. We'll cheer him. We like Sami. He's a good guy. Oh, it's Sami. 9 to 5 Sami. That's what I call him. He's the dude you pass at the Home Depot. He's the guy you ask, which section is the paint in? What aisle? And Sami Zayn, who's working his Home Depot shift, will tell you. He'll actually lead you. I'll walk you there. Come on. Thanks, Sami. He's got his name tag right. Hello, I'm Sami. That's Sami. We like Sami. Sami's a mid-carder. Sami never does anything relevant. The last time he was in anything it was relevant was Bloodline, when he was making everybody laugh and break character. And he had that one match in Montreal with Roman. Other than that, I don't care about 800 matches with Kevin Owens or the mousetrap match with the jackass guy. I think that was at SummerSlam a few years ago. Sami's a mid-carder. This was Karrion Kross's moment because there was this movement. And he looked badass at the end when Sami's about to drop that arm for the third time. And all of a sudden, Sami hulks up, delivers one haluva kick. And Karrion's looking up at lights for 95 seconds. Made Karrion look like an idiot. And then just kind of fade to black, get out of the company. We've decided we have not re-signed Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. That was, I truly believe, where this was headed. I believe if he didn't cut that promo WrestleMania weekend, being off the card and being frustrated and cutting that promo that he did off of television, I don't even think it would have even been in the realm of possibility that he would still be with WWE past the summer, him and Scarlett. But from what we're hearing is that WWE has changed their minds and they are absolutely keeping Karrion and Scarlett. Yeah, good idea. Because these are individuals that if Tony Khan gets his hands on them, I absolutely believe it would be a game changer. I'm not saying he's bringing 100,000 difference in viewership, but I do believe it would get people talking and actually wanting to see his segments, at least for like the first month. So that's where the booking into creative for AEW for Karrion and Scarlett, that's where that would have to kick in to keep that viewership and to grow it. But for that initial month, I do believe that Karrion and Scarlett would bring eyeballs. I do. But we're hearing that they are staying with WWE, and you just know that was not the case. That was one of those organic movements that was happening behind the scenes with the crowd just being upset. That with all the bad television we're getting and all the weird people that are getting these pushes from Helmsley, why is LA Knight being treated like that? Why is Karrion Kross not even on the shows? Like, fans are finally, like the women's locker room, fans are starting to say enough. A lot more fans that used to kiss the ass of Helmsley and blow smoke up the ass of Paul Levesque McMahon. And Paul Levesque McMahon, Hunter Helmsley can do no wrong. A lot of fans I'm starting to notice over the last couple of months, they're saying, no, I've had enough. I'm not coming back for seconds. I'm telling Levesque McMahon to fuck off. Because that's what Helmsley was saying, right? If you don't like the product, you can fuck off. In fact, you're not even a real fan. That's what he told you. So now a lot of fans are going, I'm not a real fan, bro. I was a fan before you were even in WWE. Shut your fucking mouth. You can fuck off. Fans are starting to really step up and say, enough, Helmsley. Sit down. We could book this for you. Karrion Kross should be on these shows. Could you imagine if Karrion and Scarlett word got out that they were released from the company or not being re-signed? I'm not saying it would hit our truth levels, but people would be like, how do you botch this? But it's WWE. It's Hunter Helmsley. It's absolutely. I would not be shocked if that's word that got out that Karrion Kross has been. WWE chose not to re-sign him. I wouldn't be shocked, sadly. But what we're hearing is that he is staying with the company. All right, this reached its allotted time and then some. So I told you, this is why we're doing a Sunday evening edition. Because there were so many stories. There's a lot that I didn't even get to. I'll try to get them into tomorrow's Amped Up. We always do a big Monday Amped Up right before Monday Night Raw. Sometimes it's even live before Raw. I can't guarantee that. But I'll try to get to some of these stories. I say try because there's, I know, going to be all new stories to get to as well that I'll tap into tomorrow. But a huge Monday Amped Up is in store over the next 24 hours. So make sure you're locked on the channel, subscribe, notified, smash the up if you haven't already. You should have already. But if you haven't, smash it. Drop a leg lock. What you gonna do, brother? Drop a Stone Cold Stunner. Maybe a Shawn Michaels super kick, a Batista bomb. Who knows, right? Or you can lock it into a sharpshooter. Figure 4 leg lock. Tap out the like button. I don't know. Smash it. Help out that algorithm. Support the channel. Let BC know you're fully amplified. That's what I got for you. I'm going to re-up on a lot of coffee. Smash out the rest of the weekend. And we will rock it out on Monday's edition of Amped Up. Because this is going to be the go-home show to everything. Am I right? I think this is the go-home Raw to all of it. Great American Bash, even though that's NXT, but final promotion on the big show. Evolution, Saturday night's main event, and just a few weeks away from SummerSlam. And if they don't bring it tomorrow night, BC is going to bring it on the Raw review this week, I assure you. If Helmsley don't bring it, we gonna bring it. We're going to bring it no matter what. What am I saying? More coffee, BC. Until next time. And there will be that next time. BC in the unit saying check you. Salute.